I thank very much The Economist for inviting me today here to present my talk. I will try to answer the question, although it's evident. However, any question has to be answered in the most serious way by using data and scientific analysis of data. We live in a period in which waffling around empiricism cannot be tolerated anymore. We need to be based on real data, and this is one of the tasks that the scientific community has taken upon itself in order to provide the state, the civil society, with the necessary data in order to have evidence-based and science-based policymaking. Right, so is the increase of natural disaster events related to climate change? Let's see. Here are data from the insurance giant, Munich Re, where you can see from 1980 until 2016, the number of natural disasters that have caused at least one death. It's a particular way of portraying the data, and you can see that the natural disasters that create victims have been increasing in the last 40, 45 years, especially the disasters that have to do with floods, with storms, and with climate catastrophes. Of course, the disasters that have to do with the geological changes and earthquakes remain relatively, as you see at the bottom, the red one, relatively constant, as you expect, because they're not related to climate. So this is one way of portraying, answering the question we posed in the beginning. There's another way of answering the question. This is the number of natural disasters from 1980 until 2021 that happened in the US. This is data from the US Global Change Research Program. And these are the natural disasters that have caused losses more than $1 billion per natural disaster. So you can see that you have an increasing number of natural disasters that are very costly. And you can see that the severe storm, tropical cyclones, and flooding are increasing with time. So yes, the answer is that we have evidence based on data, real data, that we have to take into account that natural disasters are related, the increase of natural disasters are related with the climate change and the climate catastrophe that we are living through. Let's see something which is also very recent, again, data from the Munich Re insurance giant that shows the last 6 years the cost globally of natural disasters. It's $135 billion in 2017. It has doubled that in 6 years, and it has reached in last year about $280 billion. You have a very steep increase only in the last 6 years. So yes, natural disasters are present, they are increasing, and we have to deal with it, tackle the problem in very ingenious ways if we want to actually be effective. Let me also say some more data, which you can see on the lower part of my view graph. In 6 years averages in the 20-year period from 1980 to 1999, the global cost was half a trillion in 6 years, per 6 years, $500 billion. In the next 20 years, it was $0.9 trillion, and in the last 6 years, it's $1.22 trillion. So it is a very important indication that natural disasters have to be dealt with in the most serious and effective way. Migration, this is part of the previous panel. However, I was not very sure, so I have a few view graphs based on data, again, which is very important. This is data based on the Center of Research of the Epidemiology of Disasters of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reductions. We have, in the 20-year period from 2000 to 2019, we have 1.65 billion people, the largest portion of which, 1.65 billion affected by floods, 1.43 billion affected by droughts, and 700 million affected by storms, all climate-related. So we see that is a very important aspect that will create, it does create, and it will create even more severe climate migration, as we say. Populations are affected all over the world. Some, as we heard previously, some countries are more vulnerable than others. For example, you may know that the 11 small countries of the Pacific, Vindaloo, Palau, Vanuatu, and many others, will disappear in the next few decades. So about 2.5 million people will have to migrate forcefully, and somebody will have to accept them. So there is no way out of this problem. Let's see a little bit about the displacement with numbers, the displacement due to climate change. So we have data here again from the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center of the Norwegian Refugee Council, which indicates, you can see the blue curve indicates in millions the people that have been displaced due to natural disasters. And with yellow, the people that have been displaced by conflict and war. The people who have been displaced by natural disasters are much more than the people who have been displaced by war. Of course, the displacement of people due to war is more permanent, and usually it's cross-border displacement, while, as we heard before, the displacement due to natural disasters, usually it's not cross-border, it's internal displacement. Nevertheless, we have numbers, we have evidence that we have to deal with the problem urgently, otherwise we will be forced to have a lot of social pressure that is unacceptable for civil society. Greece, what is the displacement in Greece? Again, data from the IDMC. We have, until 2021, we had, over the last maybe 20 years, 15 years, we had 100 displacement, internal displacement, the large majority of which happened due to the fire in North Eubea in 2021. Well, of course, we will have a much larger number of displacements due to the recent floods, which we have not yet quantified. Right, okay, I'm reaching the end of my talk. I will not deal with, since the migration issue has been discussed previously, I will not present anything more. I just felt that I should present data on this respect because it's very important to understand the extent of the problem if you have real data. Now, points of interest. There is no international legal binding system for the protection of climate migrants. There's no legislation, international legislation, as we have for the economical refugees or the people who are moving due to war. So this is something that international level has to be dealt with. There's a necessity for science-based quantification of the climate migration and flows. This can be done with Earth observation. There's conferences going on at this moment that I'm talking regarding this issue, and we will have many results on this, which will sort of be data-based that will indicate that that this sort of migration is forceful by natural conditions, and it has to be dealt with under a legal protection, an international legal protection scheme. We have necessity to develop science and evidence-based adaptation and mitigation policies. I have not developed this issue, but this is self-evident. We have necessity for policymakers to exploit the scientific knowledge and tools, no space for business as usual attitudes, no space for scientific conveniences. Last, the Hellenic scientific community has joined forces in a network resembling the IPCC, at a national level, of course, but being much more than that, since it has producing data, scientific tools and services, early warning system, etc. And I will have one view graph presenting you the Climate Network Initiative, 24 universities, all of them, all the universities of Greece, all the research centers of Greece, and 2 from Cyprus have joined forces in an innovative networking activity in order to develop scientific understanding of climate change, develop tools, develop early warning systems, collect data and provide data to civil society, to the state, to other research institutions abroad and within Greece, and in order eventually to become an important pillar for the state to provide advice, an advisory board. Right? It has been nominated by the PLO, Institute for Sustainable Development, the European Institute for Sustainable Development, for the Earthshot Prize 2022 and 2023, this initiative I just said. And my conclusions. Natural disasters due to climate change are systematically increasing, sorry, it moves by itself, with time. Human suffering, as quantified by population displacement and migrations, increases with time. The financial cost of natural disasters is enormous and increases over time. The legal recognition of climate migrants is non-existent, and unless dealt with, it will cause serious social, economic, and humanitarian pressures. The Greek scientific community organized in the CLIMPACT network has operated proactively and should be an interlocutor and advisor of the state and civil society. And we have to focus on science and evidence-based policy making. That's it.